The draft class of 2018 was one of the most scrutinized classes in recent history at the time, yet now, they're proving to be one of the very best draft classes of the decade, just one short year later. Some teams struck gold, while others will look back on it with some regret about the choice they made in it, so for today's video, we're going to be doing a redraft, running through the top 10 and going over who the teams, if they were given a do-over, would select if they had the ability to today. Before we start though, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel, as all support is very much appreciated. Now with that being said, let's begin. Starting things off with the first pick in the draft, the Phoenix Suns select Luka Doncic. Many people thought this should have been the choice at the time of the original draft, especially when the team hired Luka's international coach, yet they instead originally chose to go with DeAndre Ayton. Ayton's gotten off to a pretty good start to his career as well, but being realistic, the Suns are probably kicking themselves for passing on Luka in the first place. Alongside Devin Booker, they could have been one of the deadliest playmaking guard duos in the league, and after years in the basement, they could have been on the fast track to success. Luka is currently having an MVP-esque season in only his second year in the NBA, while only 20 years old as well, and is destined to be one of the best players in the league for years to come, so he was an easy choice for this number 1 pick in the redraft. Coming in at number 2 in this redraft, the Sacramento Kings select DeAndre Ayton. This might seem like a bit of a hot take, especially with Trae Young still on the board, but you have to remember that the Kings had just drafted De'Aaron Fox the year before, and both Fox and Young are going to be terrific point guards for a long time, so for a pick more so based on fit, I went with Ayton. As I said earlier, Ayton's been solid so far, averaging about 16 and 10 as a rookie. Unfortunately, he got suspended after just one game this year, so we haven't seen much from him in year 2, but he's still shown the potential to be a dominant offensive big man. He has a good face-up game and a reliable mid-range jumper, a strong post game as well, and he finishes very well around the rim. The Kings originally took Marvin Bagley here, but I see Ayton as an upgraded big man in a do-over. Next up, with the third pick in the redraft, the Atlanta Hawks select Trae Young. The Hawks originally took Luka here but then traded him to Dallas, but in a redraft, they could just as easily get Trae Young without having to even make a trade and staying put, so that's exactly what they would do. Trae Young has immediately become the face of the Hawks, and the team is currently in the process of being built around him and his playstyle. The team may not be winning much now, but they've put a bunch of young pieces together that have a terrific opportunity to blossom into something great down the line, and all of that starts with Trae leading the way. He can get his shot off from anywhere, his handle and craftiness make it tough for anyone to keep him in front of them, and if you collapse the defense on him, his playmaking ability is damn near elite for him to get an assist to the open man. Up next with pick number 4 in the redraft, the Memphis Grizzlies select Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I was so tempted to go with another same selection as the original and have the Grizzlies take Jaren Jackson Jr. here like they originally did, but SGA edged him out ever so slightly because I believe he's shown enormous potential to develop into one of the best overall guards in the league one day and is already becoming a very good player in year 2. He's putting up about 19 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists this season, and what's most impressive about him is that he's always so poised and under control. Every move he makes is with a purpose, and he's so crafty in the paint that he finishes well around defenders easily. He can work as both a primary and secondary playmaker, so even with the team going on to draft Ja Morant the next season, they would still be able to work well alongside each other. With the 5th pick in the redraft, the Dallas Mavericks select Jaren Jackson Jr. With Luka Doncic off the board and the team not having yet traded for Kristaps Porzingis, they would likely be looking for a young big man to replace Dirk, who would ultimately go on to retire. With that being said, Jaren's the best fit for this spot, and while they would likely have to be more patient with a rebuild going this route, I do believe he's on track to be a dominant two-way big man. He's a promising young rim protector, he runs the floor well and possesses the athleticism to create some mismatches, and what's most impressive of all about his development is that his three-point shot has been a very reliable option on decent volume. His production may not be Luka-esque, but given the circumstances, they would still come away good in a redraft. Next up, with the 6th pick in the redraft, the Orlando Magic select Mitchell Robinson. Having originally taken Mo Bamba in this spot, whose biggest appeal at the time as a prospect was his ability to protect the rim and excel on the defensive end, Robinson is actually the prospect that looks most promising in this regard, and by being such, he makes the biggest leap in the entire redraft after originally being a second-round pick. Robinson is already one of the very best shot blockers in the whole league, and he's doing it in only about 20 minutes per game off the bench. In Orlando, he would be put into a similar role, especially with Nikola Vucevic taking a leap as an all-star at the center position, so Robinson would be able to fill those minutes that Bamba is currently getting, but even better. Up next, with the 7th pick in this redraft, the Chicago Bulls select Marvin Bagley. Bagley was originally taken with the 2nd pick in the draft, so he does fall a bit in the redraft, but that's more so a testament to how good this draft has proven to be than it is a knock on Bagley as a player. One of the biggest concerns about Bagley at the time of the draft was his defense, but based on what we've seen from him, I feel like that was all a bit overblown. He hasn't necessarily been great on that end, or shown the ability to be, but he also hasn't been bad either, and he holds his own. Offensively, he's super versatile, being a power forward with good ball handling ability and shot creating ability. He operates well in pick and rolls, is skillful as a finisher, and his jumper stretches out to the three-point line. He's still a very good player and will be for years, but I just think him going top 2 is a bit unrealistic in a redraft based on the overall talent of this class. Moving on now to the 8th pick in the redraft, the Cleveland Cavaliers select Wendell Carter Jr. The Cavs have loaded up on young guard talent over the last few years in the draft, almost to a fault. In doing so, they lack much young big man talent at all, and as a rebuilding team, having someone that could grow with the rest of the young core at those positions would be very beneficial, which is why Carter gets the edge in a redraft over their original selection of Colin Sexton. Adding Carter would also help the team move on from veteran bigs with big contracts like Kevin Love and Tristan Thompson, because by trading those players, they could add even more assets that could be even more beneficial to a rebuilding team. Carter is a very good all-around big man who plays good defense and can fill almost any role a modern big man should be able to fill in today's NBA. Next up, with the 9th pick in the redraft, the New York Knicks select Colin Sexton. Sexton wouldn't drop very far at all in a redraft, and he would probably be a great fit in the Big Apple. His motor and aggression would be greatly appreciated in New York, and he would fill a much-needed position on the team. It seems like Frank Ntilikina is never going to be a highly productive offensive player, but his defense is very valuable in the backcourt, and pairing him with a score-first guy like Sexton could make for a good fit. Sexton scores about 18 points per game, and after some worry about his perimeter shooting, he's actually shown that to be a strength of his, as he shoots 39% from 3 for his young career. He's quick, he's feisty, and he's a big competitor by nature, and while things haven't been looking very bright in New York in recent years, he would give the fans something to root for. And finally, to round out the top 10 of this draft, the Philadelphia 76ers select Landry Shamet. The Sixers actually took Shamet in the original draft, but they managed to get him 26th overall. Since then, Shamet has proven to be not only one of the best young shooters in the league, but one of the best shooters period. He's shot historically well in his rookie season by taking 5 threes per game and making them at a 42% clip. He, in many ways, resembles JJ Redick as a player, only Shamet also possesses some secondary playmaking ability and potential to create off the dribble, while Redick tended to struggle in those areas. He works non-stop off the ball to get open, runs off screens very well, and when he gets an inch of space, he's a threat to make the shot. The biggest need for the Sixers by far is perimeter shooting, and Shamet is easily the best shooter from this draft, so they're seemingly a perfect match for each other. And with that being said, that's all I have for you today. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below how you would redraft things from a year ago. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.